My name's Anguzufiliam, a poultry farmer, born in 1968 in this village of Ocholin, Oluko Sub-County, Arua District. I started this poultry business in 2007. How I started it was when I had a function at my place, which function needed some chicken. But when I went out, I was looking for where to get the chicken. The only place I got was very expensive, sold. So I tried to beg this gentleman to reduce to me the cost, but he could not. It gave me a lesson. I said I need to go poultry. That's when I started. And a friend advised me of how I would do the best poultry by beginning with the improved chicken. I said, how would I do that? He advised me, said there are shops around. And those shops, they sell improved eggs. If I go there, I can get those ones and then they bring home. He asked me if I had local chicken at home. I said, yes, I have them. I said, okay. If that is the idea you're giving me, let me do it. I moved to that shop. Reaching there, really I got the eggs. And the eggs, they were sold at 1,000 per egg. Then that one encouraged me. I said, fine, let me see what I can do. I bought those eggs to the tune of 37 in a number. Removed the local eggs of my local chicken, gave to my children, they ate those. Then made the other local chicken to sit onto the other improved eggs. They hatched after 21 days. I saw I had chicks. How? Said, that's very great. So I had to create them a small room, which we call these days, we call a brooder room. Put them there with some heat for them, warmth, to give them warmth. Some feeds, some water. Oh, indeed, things came up very well. I vaccinated them, gave them these other oral drugs. They grew. 2 kilos of 6. I sold them at the cost of each 45.50. Then that one inspired me so seriously to say poultry is the way. So you need to have a land, that is the first thing. The second, then you have to raise it a house. That house, you need to raise it in the standard of how the poultry house looks like. Then you need to have also things inside it, like what you will use, the inputs. Then when you have those inputs, plus the materials, then you'll have the chicks and so forth. When you have those things, then you can start. The more I will explain when you come the other way in the house. So this is the chicken house. And when you are entering it, we have what we call foot bath. In this foot bath, there is water put with the disinfectant. A disinfectant is to help in order to put away the germs which would affect the birds inside. So for the hygienic purpose, this is a must. A farmer has to have it whenever there are visitors and so forth to make it better. So what you do, you have to disinfect yourself and then enter your chicken house. Whatever you had as germs will remain there. Here you are safe with your chicken. Housing, poultry housing are of different types. We have mud wall house, which has grass thatched roofs. We have those houses which can build out of bricks and concrete with the iron roof sheets. And there are those with the concrete pillars, of which you have the wooden as the floor and the wire mesh, like 1 meter. And you put on top of it what? The iron sheets also. These are types of housings for the poultry. So it depends where you want to be and what you have in your pocket. Because you cannot aim at somebody who has that capital to raise a house, then you say, I want to do it that way, you will be defeated. You need to go to somewhere you feel you are comfortable. Maybe even a grass-thatched house, but maintained with the hygiene. You can keep your poultry inside it. So me, I have this one here. This is a brick made house with the iron sheet, and then with the windows of the wire mesh. These are very important for these chicks. If you want them to be all right, you need to give them enough. There are certain criteria you have to follow. There is aeration. There should be enough air. There should be a lot of, you avoid things to do like with the heat. Those ones are all very important. You have to monitor. And there is, you need not again to create a lot of air where there's a lot of wind coming in to blow off. That one is also there. So I opted for this one to avoid incidences of predators, insecurity. That is to say, maybe thugs. You can see my door, I have 2 doors. There's the other one which can allow, I open, I leave it like this to allow air come in. But I close them all at night. There are no predators which can come in. So the security of these birds, they're okay. Those are the major things you have to outline when you want to raise a poultry house. In positioning your housing for the poultry, you need to mark out certain important things. There is where you should see the rain direction. Because when you build the house, where the rain can easily come and disorganize you, it will wash off the birds and they die. That is one. And the aeration is very important also. Purposely, because as they are, they need enough air. So that one is very important for their life. You have also to consider that in order when you are raising the house. This small fence you are seeing here inside the chicken house is what I've been using as a brooder. It's movable, it's mobile. This chicken here, these chicks I have here, they are 3 weeks old. But you can see, as they are 3 weeks old, this fence, initially it was closed somewhere there, inside there. But as they kept, I used it as a brooder. So it was the initial start of it. Why I've decided to use this system, because initially I built up blocks around here to make up a brooder. But I would realize that continuously, once the birds have come out of the brooder, I again throw them somewhere, then the other part remains there, then I'm not using my house economically. So this small room here, up to this level, plus the brooder inclusive, can raise me my 300 chicks to chicken, and then I sell them before I go to the other room, which I'm going to intend also to put another brooder there. So this is a movable brooder, which very few people know about. So I use this system. What I'm holding here is one of the broilers I raised and which I dispose out to keep just to behave like the locals. So I broke the culture because broilers are meant to grow just for a short while and then you consume it. But this one is now like 6 to 7 months and it's weighing like 6-7 kilograms. This one here, it's very heavy. So in fact, I've broken the rules. I've given it a lot of work to carry its weight, which is not really the rightful way. But in our culture, this is what we want. Something heavy like this, which can really feed very many people. This is now the broilers. We're in the broiler house. These broilers, they are dual purpose. They are dual purpose. They grow big. They grow big in weighing up to the kilograms of 4 to 6. And they grow big up to the tune of 5 to 6 months. These ones, they can lay eggs and they can be eaten, like the carcass can be eaten. And they are sweeter than even broilers. So they grow slow, that is the problem. They grow slow up to that duration, but they eat less. So they're dual purpose. They're so good. We also have off layers, which I used to have. They're also here. I used to have layers, now I've put them off. They're here. They give me small eggs. I keep on eating. And one good thing with them, you can sell them as off layers and then you regain your money, which you had already spent much out of it. But they are very expensive to raise. This is with the layers. And they have a problem of there is too much vaccination. You do a lot of vaccination on them. What I'm holding here is what we call cock. This one is the parent breeder. It breeds these local ones. This one, it's one of the important chicken, whatever. You need to have it there in the system for more production if you really want to have very many local chickens around. So it's very important.
We have 300 parent stock on the farm and they lay eggs. We have cocks and hens. So we have fertilized eggs. So every week we load eggs into the incubator. The eggs should be clean and they should not be more than 6 days. Normally the hens will lay like 5 trays of eggs a day. Every week we get chicks have hatched. About 600-700 chicks. So these eggs have been here for 21 days and now they have hatched into chicks. This chick is energetic and is dry. Yeah. We are ready to put it in a box. On the other hand, this one is still drying, you see? It's still wet. So we have to wait for this one to be dry, then we can remove them and put them in the box. This is the box where we pack the hatched chicks. This box, 50 chicks. 50 chicks. And we can have them in 4 for 4 hours before they are taken by the owner. Okay? So,
in West Nile area, there are many farmers keeping animals, growing crops, and rearing poultry. But when you venture in such a business of livestock, you should know that livestock, they are like human beings. They need drugs to sustain their life. They need help from the keepers and the people concerned. So we think that we need to come nearer and provide them with the every necessary information and the drugs they need to sustain their life. Oh, you can also vaccinate against infectious bronchitis. I think that is the disease I did not talk about. It affects the locals and the indigenous. That is where you find their nostrils getting blocked. They'll fail to breathe. They'll cough. So, in such a circumstance, when the nostrils are blocked and when they fail to breathe, you can give them that antibiotic to cure or to open the nostril. Based on the poultry, there are also types of poultry. They are the local breed, they are the indigenous, what we call the croilers, the layers, the broilers, and so forth. These are the indigenous. So the most common disease affecting the poultry in this region, we talk of Newcastle disease. This is where you see a chick or a hen passing watery feces. It can be colorless, or it can be greenish, or it can be with the white spots. So if you see a chick passing such a loose, you know that is Newcastle. And the medicine you can use for curing or for curing the side effects of that diarrhea, you can use oxytetracycline, you can use amprolium. They can help very well. Or you can even use Supermed, which is a very strong drug of nowadays. Then secondly, you talk of coccidiosis. Coccidiosis is where they pass feces, which is red in color. It is very brown, or maybe you see some spots of blood, or you see very brown feces, which doesn't look normal. So for that situation, you are advised to use sulfur. You can either use coxid, which has sulfur content. You can either use sulfadidim. You can either use amprolium. Those are the drugs which can treat that side effect of coccidiosis. Then if you talk of these indigenous animals or indigenous birds, you identify them, you get them having, since they are very vulnerable, the climate here does not suit them very well. You find them being attacked by fowlpox. Fowlpox is a major disease of nowadays in poultry, the indigenous poultry. You find them having some spots, a black spot like scabies. They'll affect them in the nostrils, in the eyes. You get the eyes closed, the eye gets closed.
Yeah, welcome to Gaza School Farm. I'm Sime Christopher, the Gaza School Farm practitioner, the practical person in charge of the practical operations in the farm. This time around, we are going to talk about layers. We must be sure of the vaccination programs so that we can make our birds grow healthier. And actually what is done with the treatment and vaccination at the first day, before we receive them from the hatcheries, after the very date of hatchery, they are vaccinated against Marex and Newcastle. So when we receive them here, we introduce them into the brooders, and the procedure goes on for management. So on the 7th day, we revaccinate them with the Newcastle disease, with Newcastle vaccine. And the Newcastle vaccine is always introduced in the eye by dropping a drop of the vaccine, which is mixed with water. That is at the 7th day. That is 1 week of the brooder. Then at the 14th day, we vaccinate against Gumboro, which is also done in the nose. We put a drop, we make sure we use syringes, and we put a drop in the nose of every chick. And then we go on the 21st date, we vaccinate infectious bronchitis. Normally these days in Uganda, we receive this vaccine mixed up, the infectious bronchitis and Newcastle. It is normally identified as the NCD/IB, infectious bronchitis and Newcastle disease vaccine. So after that one, again on the date of 28th, that is 4 weeks, we revaccinate Gumboro. Then we proceed for more 2 weeks. After 6 weeks, the chicken are vaccinated against Newcastle. Then after 8 weeks, we introduce the vaccine of typhoid. The 8 weeks vaccine is intramammary. What we do is we inject in the flesh, either in the chest or the thigh of the chicken. And each chicken receives 1 milliliter, which is 1 cc of the vaccine in the flesh. When this chicken reaches 3 months of age, we vaccinate against fall typhoid. And that one is in the wing. We use a syringe that has 2 needles and has some holes on it, where the drug is trapped, and we pierce it in the wings of the chicken. Basically, on the management of the chicken, after that vaccination, it is advisable that in every 3 months we should revaccinate against Newcastle and infectious bronchitis for the management to travel on.
Okay, first day of our broilers, we inject them the Newcastle vaccine, or sometimes called the Marex. That is the first day of introduction. So by injecting them, we are protecting them from diseases and other new environments. The 7th day, we again introduce Newcastle vaccine through the eye or the nose. That's the 7th day. The 14th day, we change and we introduce Gumboro vaccine. We vaccinate also through the nose or the eye. Then the 21st day, we again introduce Gumboro vaccine through the nose or the eye. Then we go on up to the 30th day of our broilers. We introduce Newcastle disease, stroke, infectious bronchitis, also through the nose or the eye. That's our vaccination program for broilers.
When I buy my vaccine from a drug shop, I shouldn't keep it for more than 6 hours if I don't have a refrigerator or a freezer or a lot of ice, because with time those vaccines die out. Okay, you know, vaccines are made from the same disease causing things, so when you don't keep them in ice, they will die out, and then when you use them in the chicken, the chicken will also die. Then the other thing is there are what we call thermostable vaccines. If you are from a long distance and you don't have electricity, you can buy thermostable vaccines, which can go for long hours. Actually, they can go for a week without using. So then the other thing is, before you vaccinate, you have to stop medication. You know, birds are always on medication. You can be giving them oxytetracycline, all those drugs to make them live well. So you stop it like 1 day or 2 days before vaccination, and then you introduce multivitamin. Multivitamin helps to boost the energy levels of the bird, and then when you vaccinate, the birds don't lose energy, the production rate, if their layers doesn't drop so much, you know. So those are things to consider. Then the other thing, you look at the containers you are going to carry, to use to carry the vaccine. You shouldn't use dirty containers. The containers should be clean, and if you have a sterilizer like Jik or something, you should sterilize them to make them free from any pathogens or disease causing organisms. Then the other thing is, also the person who is going to apply the vaccine should be clean. They should wash their hands, they should be in clean clothes. Yeah, they should be clean generally before they apply the vaccine. So you don't get from the garden, you haven't washed your hands, and then you apply the vaccine on the chicken. You'll be just transmitting diseases.
Every living organism needs something to eat, and this chicken cannot grow without feed. This one here is a maize bran, and this maize bran, it goes with fish meal, which I have here on this other left hand, this fish meal. And then we should have cotton cake to mix it with. But this cotton cake, currently I don't have it. And we have shells to be put into it. That is when you are mixing your feeds. And then you have also premix. This is premix. You have to mix it with the feeds. And salt, you have to put there, iodized salt. So when you mix all these things, there's a lysine, which I don't have here. But when you mix them all, they give you a complete feed for the chicks or the chicken. But there are ratios. You don't just mix anyhow. So there are ratios you have to go by to make up a complete feed. Mixing your own feeds is so good, but the problem in it is that we lack materials when we need them. The availability is not really at time when you need them. So what I have decided to do, because to make their business run very well, is to get the other option of the ready-made feeds, which has all the ingredients packed together, of which I will not begin looking for maybe fish apart, cotton apart, no. But I also, if a farmer has a way of having all those things within his reach or her reach, then it's the best. And it's the safety measures. Eggs, you have to be careful of eggs. They're where the cells become weak. You can't pack those kind of eggs. And we have types of eggs. There are those small eggs which are of local birds. And there are those bigger eggs which are of improved eggs. But again, when you are packing them, you have to follow certain criteria. What kind of eggs should you give out? When you have been feeding these birds, there is that element of treating them at that moment when they are sick and they are laying. So you have to be very careful. They should be drug-free. That's one important aspect of it. To put it in a way that these eggs are free from anything, which somebody can access it and use it without any danger. Free from drugs. What do I mean? I mean, by the period you are giving it, you are administering, giving them medicine, these eggs should not be given out to be eaten. That is the safetiness. Another safetiness is how you pack them, how you put them. In making them clean, You don't clean them with using water. You have to get a steel wire and rub that part. You get your egg like this, scrub it with it slowly by slowly. It removes that dirt. It becomes clean. Put it back. Then you pack your eggs very well. Then you put them out to those who are consuming. Others even have stamp and they stamp it. When they stamp it there, it is to show the difference. Once you use it, you know whose eggs you have been picking, which are good, not diluted, not what. So we are going to start our packaging process. How we put this one off, and then the processes are going to be as follows. When you are going to make a clean chicken, this is how you hold it before it gets into problems. One, we avoid the wings getting broken, because the hotels, they need these wings also. So you hold it like this. The way you hold it like this, it makes sure that it is safe. And the cutting of it is done here. So you don't do it alone. Somebody should be the one to help you to cut, because you need to hold it firm, because these birds are weak. So when we are going to cut it, we hold it here. And then the person cuts around somewhere here. So when it is, the breath is going out, you hold it tight like this. The blood should go down. It should not remain in the carcass inside it, the meat. So you keep it like that till it dies. Here's the hot water where we now push it inside, so that we can remove the feathers. It's really hot, so remove the feathers. This is how we do it. Local chicken, after doing it this way, they put it on a fire to remove the last feathers. But this one, we don't. We clean it with the hot water and cold water at the end. Are you seeing how clean it's coming? So this is where the safety is. You should make that it's clean, in a clean environment. Undress it. So what you do, you cut it from here. Now I've reached removing the inside part. You have to remove it carefully. I've already done it. Get another clean water. Start washing it. After it's done like this, you know you have already packed it. Pack it there, cover it very well. If there are many pieces, pack there, transport it to the consumer. Yeah, the challenges in this poultry industry has been marketing. So marketing, when I started, was not easy. But I kept on moving to to these hotels, giving my numbers there, marketing, just trying to market myself up, taking even the type of the quality, because the birds could raise to 2.2, 2.5 live one. So when they realized that, they started now picking. And the first test was they could pick many and they don't pay me on cash. That was also another challenge I would give in order to retain them, because I wanted the business. So in the process, I managed to hold them all together. And then I started getting market. But again, another challenge was I could not now satisfy them, all of them. Now what I did again to overcome that situation was again to go to farmer groups, other farmer people. Those other farmers I know, because I do the vaccination myself for them. They use me as a consultant if they have any problem with their chicks. So it's me to advise. And that prompted me to know where and who has birds. So whenever these hotels call me, whenever they say, hey, Mr. Nguzi, do you have birds there? I say, yes, even if I have like what I have here. Even right now when they ask me, I say, yes, I have birds. Because I know another farmer is somewhere is already selling. And then I use that, I use that opportunity, that method to hold my people. And that's how I overcome this marketing problem. But the market is there. So there's no need to fear about the poultry. In a year, I offset like 12 times. 12 times, like broilers. In a tune of 300, 400, 300, 400, 12 times in a year. Which means every month I'm offsetting. They keep on going. Every month I release, every month I release. So would you say there's no market? And it's where my livelihood is. Entirely, my children go to school. It has produced, I've bought land out of it. It has produced another enterprise that is piggery. I have local chicken at home. I don't go hungry. My family is healthy, everything is fine. And it's now an employment. It's my employment. Day in, day out.
Emyaka emeka kubonabona kwerere